The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 2 weeks, November 4 to November 15, reveal that Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra will have a flirty evening together, but Sally thinks it's a bit too soon to let him in her suite for a nightcap. Sally will hit the brakes on Billy a bit during the week of November 4 to 8, but that'll just make it more meaningful when they finally do land in bed together. Next, Summer Newman will manage to halt Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman's first-time passion by returning for her forgotten phone at the Abbott house. Summer will understandably ruin the vibe, but Claire will still be very interested in taking her relationship with Kyle to the next level. It's just that Claire will want the timing to be right, and Summer obviously can't be around when it happens. However, Summer's feelings for Kyle may be bubbling back up. It seems like Summer's getting jealous of Claire, so a storm could be brewing. That's especially true since Summer and Chance Chancellor will face problems in their own romance due to Daniel Romalotti Jr.'s case. Speaking of Daniel, he'll stay focused on getting justice for Heather Stevens and clearing his own name. Lucy Romalotti doesn't need her dad stuck in prison, so Daniel will be highly motivated to get out this legal jam. Phyllis Summers will plot against Sharon Newman and hope she can score an admission of guilt. Although Phyllis will act like she's got evidence, it'll really just be part of a trap. Sharon will fight back by threatening to get a restraining order on Phyllis. Nick Newman won't be a fan of that plan, but Sharon may feel she has no choice after Phyllis repeatedly confronts her. As for Christine Blair, she'll keep some news on the down low. Christine might uncover something that could help clear Daniel, but she may keep a lid on it out of fear that Phyllis will bungle things. Amy Lewis is still in town awaiting Nate Hastings' decision, so he'll finally give her some updates. There's a good chance Nate will agree to locate his half-brother, Damien, but that task will inevitably be a tricky one. Back with Billy, he'll propose a truce to Laylee Winters and suggest maybe they can work together at Abbott Chancellor after all. That's what Jill Abbott wants, but will Lily be willing to cave in? Elsewhere, Diane Jenkins Abbott will have some cryptic communication with someone. There'll be a mystery surrounding a message Diane sends, so this might lead to a big reveal and proof that she's been scheming with Jack Abbott all along. Our predictions hint that Jack and Diane's breakup may be fake, so they may secretly text about their plan to deceive Kyle and Victor Newman. Speaking of Victor, he'll pull off a surprise that's one for the history books. Nikki Newman will wonder what's going on as Victor blindfolds her and leads her somewhere amazing. Since I&R has recreated the original Newman Ranch set, that'll become part of the story. Victor has been working on this recreation without Nikki knowing about it, so she'll be moved to tears once she sees it on November 8. During the week of November 11 to 15, the show will put the new set to good use. That's because Devon Hamilton Winters and Abby Newman Abbott are going to get married there. November 13 will mark Y&R's 13,000th episode, so there'll be quite a celebration as Abby ties the knot with Devon in front of their friends and family. Jill, Ashley Abbott, Anna Hamilton, and Harmony, aka Yolanda Hamilton, will all be part of the wedding festivities, so there'll be lots of love in the room on Devon and Abby's big day. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the next 2 weeks will bring some romantic moments and plenty of excitement, so stay tuned for updates on all the fun. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Buckle up for an explosive week in GC packed with juicy drama that the Young and the Restless spoilers bring along. For starters, Phyllis is inviting trouble as she tries to push Sharon toward a confession. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott's love life is taking a fresh twist as he is already wooing Sally Spectra. Sadly, Daniel Romalotti's plight for justice could put him in serious jeopardy. This week also brings some adorable moments in Victor and Nikki Newman's lives. Check them out below. Phyllis spies on Sharon. Billy woos Sally. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal Phyllis is watching for even the slightest hint that Sharon will slip up. But is she setting herself up for a huge regret? One wrong move could send her world crashing down. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Billy is proving again that he's never one to let the dust settle. Following his split with Chelsea, he's trying to sway Sally into his orbit. However, he'll have to swallow his pride and admit he was wrong when he reconciles with Lily. Furthermore, in classic soap style, he's not the only one in relationship limbo. Summer's stirring up drama for Kyle and Claire, creating new challenges for them. Will they manage to work things out, or is this just another nail in the coffin? Next, the time has come for Nate to make a decision. He's wrestling with whether to help Amy despite being aware of the repercussions. Meanwhile, Tracy has something special for Alan, which will be a total shocker. Also read, could Olivia Barber be on her way back? Read here. Victor surprises Nikki, Diane's hidden clue finally revealed. Across town, Daniel might invite trouble, especially with Heather's case hanging over him. But guess what? Christine has a secret that might intensify the legal heat against him. Over at the Newman household, Victor is setting a whole new bar in the romance department with a touching surprise for Nikki. Their return to the Newman ranch promises an emotional reunion that will leave us sobbing for real. As the couple spends some cozy moments back at the ranch, it's time for Abby and Davin to finalize wedding plans. But hold up, there's a twist. Diane's cryptic message makes everyone wonder if her breakup with Jack was a well-executed scheme. It's indeed going to be an unforgettable week on Y&R. Don't miss out on more sizzling tea on the Young and the Restless spoilers at Soap Opera Daily. Will Phyllis expose Sharon? Buckle up for an explosive week in GC packed with juicy drama that the Young and the Restless spoilers bring along. For starters, Phyllis is inviting trouble as she tries to push Sharon toward a confession. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott's love life is taking a fresh twist as he is already wooing Sally Spectra. Sadly, Daniel Romolotti's plight for justice could put him in serious jeopardy. This week also brings some adorable moments in Victor and Nikki Newman's lives. Check them out below. Phyllis spies on Sharon, Billy woos Sally. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal Phyllis is watching for even the slightest hint that Sharon will slip up. But is she setting herself up for a huge regret? One wrong move could send her world crashing down. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Billy is proving again that he's never one to let the dust settle. Following his split with Chelsea, he's trying to sway Sally into his orbit. However, he'll have to swallow his pride and admit he was wrong when he reconciles with Lily. Furthermore, in classic soap style, he's not the only one in relationship limbo. Summer's stirring up drama for Kyle and Claire, creating new challenges for them. Will they manage to work things out, or is this just another nail in the coffin? Next, the time has come for Nate to make a decision. He's wrestling with whether to help Amy despite being aware of the repercussions. Meanwhile, Tracy has something special for Alan, which will be a total shocker. Victor surprises Nikki, Diane's hidden clue finally revealed. Across town, Daniel might invite trouble, especially with Heather's case hanging over him. But guess what? Christine has a secret that might intensify the legal heat against him. Over at the Newman household, Victor is setting a whole new bar in the romance department with a touching surprise for Nikki. Their return to the Newman ranch promises an emotional reunion that will leave us sobbing for real. As the couple spends some cozy moments back at the ranch, it's time for Abby and Davin to finalize wedding plans. But hold up, there's a twist. Diane's cryptic message makes everyone wonder if her breakup with Jack was a well-executed scheme. It's indeed going to be an unforgettable week on Y&R. Don't miss out on more sizzling tea on the Young and the Restless spoilers at Soap Opera Daily. Will Phyllis expose Sharon? The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of November 4 to 8, 2024 are in. During the upcoming week, fans can expect Phyllis Summers to confront Sharon Newman. Christine Blair keeps a secret. Chance Chancellor and Summer Newman get into a fight. Plus, Diane Jenkins Abbott sends a cryptic message. Keep reading to find out what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Monday, November 4, Phyllis Summers confrontation. Why and are spoilers for Monday, November 4 that Phyllis confronts Sharon at the coffee house. As Daniel Romalotti, Jr. watches from nearby, Phyllis tells Sharon she knows what she did. Then, when Sharon acts unbothered, Phyllis says she has evidence. That gets a reaction from Sharon for sure. Of course, since they are in the coffee house, Sharon might not strike back right then and there. Phyllis should be very careful around Sharon though. Also in Monday's episode, expect Summer to cause problems for Kyle Abbott and Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron. Elsewhere, Billy Abbott romances Sally Spectra. It would be nice if the soap would just keep them friends. Not every man/woman dynamic needs to lead to passion. Why and are spoilers, Tuesday, November 5. On Tuesday, November 5, Nate Hastings makes a decision about Amy Lewis' request. Tracy Abbott surprises Alan Laurent. Also, Billy is forced to make amends with Laylee Winters. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Wednesday, November 6, Christine Blair's secret. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, November 6 reveal that Christine keeps a secret. This might have to do with Phyllis and Daniel's plan. Phyllis ends up backing Sharon into a corner. Will Sharon finally confess to being responsible for Heather Stevens' death? Also, Daniel is determined to get justice for Heather. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Thursday, November 7. On Thursday, November 7, Victor Newman pulls out all the stops to surprise Nikki Newman. Diane sends a cryptic message. Plus, Daniel's arrest causes serious issues for Summer and Chance. My and our spoilers, Friday, November 8, Victor Newman's gift. On Friday, November 8, Victor will bring Nikki home to the Newman Ranch for a big surprise. Also, Abby Newman Abbott and Devin Hamilton Brayton finalize their wedding plans. Could something chaotic happen at Abby and Devon's wedding? There definitely seems to be a lot of secrecy, so stay tuned. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of November 4, 2024? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, November 4th. In Genoa City, a place where power dynamics shift like sand, recent events have set off turmoil and intrigue. Sharon Newman's mysterious actions have triggered a chain reaction, pulling every major player into a web of trust, betrayal, and ambition. Daniel's relentless pursuit. Daniel Romalotti is deeply entrenched in the city's dark underbelly, determined to uncover a truth that could destroy him. Convinced of Sharon's involvement in Genoa City's troubles, he meticulously tracks her interactions, hoping for the evidence he needs to expose her. Daniel fears Sharon, now possibly allied with the cunning Chance Chancellor, is orchestrating a scheme that could ruin lives and seize control of Genoa's most powerful assets. Faith's unexpected role. Unbeknownst to Sharon, her daughter Faith Newman has become an unexpected ally in Daniel's quest. Harboring doubts about her mother's role in Heather Stevens' tragic demise, Faith secretly places a listening device in Sharon's purse. Her actions, driven by justice for both Heather and herself, add a new layer of intrigue. Eavesdropping on shadows. One late evening, Daniel's efforts begin to pay off. Listening through Faith's recordings, he overhears a cryptic conversation between Sharon and Cameron Kirsten, laden with veiled threats and strategic plans. Though Cameron says little, his minimal yet ominous presence gives Daniel a sense that he is more than just a pawn in Sharon's game. Corporate espionage and the Abbott dilemma. Meanwhile, Kyle Abbott and Diane Jenkins find themselves at a crossroads, torn between loyalty to Victor Newman and their history with Jack Abbott. Victor's relentless pursuit of power contrasts sharply with Jack's integrity and honor, which Kyle and Diane still hold dear. Frustrated and weary from family conflict, Jack distances himself from Diane and Kyle, leaving them feeling abandoned and uncertain of whom to trust. Lily's ambition and Victor's machinations. Amidst these personal struggles, a fierce battle for corporate dominance unfolds. Lily Winters, fueled by ambition, aims to become CEO of Chancellor Abbott with a vision for progressive change. However, Victor Newman has already positioned Nikki Newman for the role, igniting a rivalry rooted in both ideology and personal vendettas. Lily's focus on innovation and transparency clashes with Victor's traditional, sometimes ruthless, approach to business, creating a contentious atmosphere with every encounter. The unseen threat, Daniel's growing peril. As Daniel delves deeper into Sharon's manipulations, the dangers around him grow. Fate's involvement adds complexity, creating an unspoken alliance between them. But their secretive operations carry the risk of exposure, threatening a scandal that could shake entire families. Kyle and Diane's fractured trust. Kyle and Diane's indecision only heightens the already volatile situation. Torn between Victor's manipulative charm and Jack's waning trust, they must navigate treacherous waters on their own. Jack's withdrawal forces them to rely on their instincts and confront their doubts without his guidance. The battle for Chancellor Abbott. In the corporate arena, tensions reach a peak as Lily and Victor face off for control of Chancellor Abbott. During the annual board meeting, both present their visions. Lily, with a passionate plea for innovation, appeals to younger board members, while Victor's presentation emphasizes stability and legacy. Nikki Newman's victory ultimately solidifies Victor's control, but Lily's supporters refuse to concede, vowing to continue their fight. The final confrontation. Daniel's pursuit brings him to a dramatic showdown with Sharon. With Fate's unwavering support, he confronts Sharon, and the truth about Heather's death begins to surface. Sharon's fierce denial reveals the depths of her deceit. Meanwhile, the Abbott family's internal struggles culminate as Kyle and Diane decide to stand together, despite Victor and Jack's competing promises. Torn between family loyalty and personal convictions, they face a defining moment that will shape their future. The Young and the Restless spoilers recap for Monday, November 4, reveals that Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott will meet up at Society, where they'll drink, tell jokes, and share some silly stories. Billy will eventually drop Sally off at her suite, but she'll decide not to let him in for a nightcap just yet. That said, Billy and Sally will acknowledge that they enjoy spending time together, so they'll definitely be growing closer. At the Abbott mansion, Claire Newman will assure Kyle Abbott that she doesn't want to stop, so their makeout session will escalate as they head to the bedroom. Although Claire will unbutton Kyle's shirt and fall back on the bed with him, Summer Newman's return will derail things. When Summer comes back for her phone, she'll notice Claire's purse is still there. Summer will call out to Kyle and Claire upstairs, so Kyle will come down with his shirt still unbuttoned. It'll be obvious that Summer isn't happy about this development, but she'll claim she saw Claire's purse and thought maybe she stayed because Harrison Abbott was sick on Halloween candy. After Kyle insists Harrison is fine and asleep, he'll send Summer on her way. When Claire comes downstairs afterward, she'll admit that Summer's arrival threw her off and made her think maybe this isn't the right moment. Kyle will urge Claire to take all the time she needs and vow to be there when she's ready, so they'll share another kiss. At Crimson Lights, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will talk to Phyllis Summers about his plan to catch the real Heather Stevens culprit. Of course, Phyllis will think Sharon Newman is to blame and will urge Daniel to follow her lead once Sharon appears nearby. Once Phyllis asks if Sharon has seen any ghosts, She'll insist she knows what Sharon did and has proof. Sharon will look alarmed over that news and will demand to know what Phyllis is talking about. However, Sharon will ultimately act like there's no proof to find as Nick Newman arrives to eavesdrop. Phyllis will saunter out while Sharon works to convince Daniel that she could never harm Heather. Sharon will act like Phyllis is acting crazier than usual, but Daniel will suggest she's being protective and will stand by his innocence. Nick will continue listening in and will question Sharon once she's alone. Sharon will basically act like Phyllis is harassing her and will suggest she should get a restraining order. Once Nick takes Sharon home, he'll convince her to hold off on the restraining order for now. Nick will suggest it'd just make Sharon look guilty, though he'll assure her that he doesn't believe Phyllis' claims. Nick also won't think it's a good idea to give Phyllis' family more to deal with, so he'll plan to get her to back off Sharon and avoid the restraining order. Next on Monday's I&R episode, Daniel will confront Phyllis for telling Sharon that they have proof when they don't really. Phyllis will insist that if you put enough pressure on a nut, it's going to crack. With that in mind, Phyllis will want to gaslight Sharon into thinking they have evidence and set a trap so that she'll go down for Heather's demise. Summer will arrive and get updates on this plan as well, but she'll agree with Daniel about it being too extreme. Nevertheless, Daniel will appreciate Phyllis' willingness to fight for justice, and will promise they'll get that for Heather whether Sharon is innocent or not. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon has more hurdles ahead of her, so we'll bring you predictions on the twists and turns of the investigation. Phyllis and Summer are upset about Daniel, while Sally gets her groove back in the Monday, November 4 episode of The Young and the Restless, with Billy and Sally enjoying drinks in a hotel room, and Phyllis telling Daniel something serious. For the Monday, November 4 episode of The Young and the Restless, spoilers photos show Phyllis and Summer are upset about Daniel while Sally gets her groove back. These images preview some big moments that you will not want to miss. Scenes from Genoa City. Billy and Sally enjoy drinks at Society. They sit on the couch and enjoy some wine and whiskey. Sally and Billy smile as they toast each other. It looks like these two enjoy some deep conversation while they're out too. Later, they end up outside a hotel room at the Genoa City Athletic Club. Sally has something in her mouth, and Billy is smiling at her. Before she heads into the room, Sally touches Billy. Will he end up going in with her? Meanwhile, Summer looks absolutely disgusted as she gazes at the alcohol in the Abbott living room. We suspect it's not the alcohol she's upset with, though. She's probably worrying about Chance arresting Daniel. Kyle comes in to talk to her, and they both have their arms crossed. Are they fighting, or is it just a tense conversation? Soon, Claire ends up leaving the Abbott mansion. Is she upset that Summer is there, or did something else happen? Finally, Phyllis tells her son something serious as they sit on the couches at the GCAC with some coffee or tea. It seems that isn't enough for them, though. They end up at the patio of Crimson Lights. Phyllis is convinced that Sharon framed Daniel. Is Daniel also convinced? She seems firm in whatever she's telling Daniel. Will he be able to clear his name? Check it all out in the slideshow below. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, November 4 tease that bad boy Billy Abbott apologizes to the woman he fired, Lily Winters. But is he sincere, or is his mom Jill Abbott putting the screws to him? Billy says he treated Lily unfairly and wants her forgiveness. Lily is right to question his motives. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Jill wants to get along. Jill wants Lily and Billy to bury the hatchet and play nice. But Billy doesn't do much out of the kindness of his heart. Jill won't have either one of them working for her unless they kiss and make up. The problem is that both Billy and Lily are disloyal snakes in the grass. Each has sold out the other, so what reason do they have to make up? Still, Jill is the boss, and they would be wise to listen to her, or both could be out in the cold. I&R spoilers. Phyllis knows Sharon is guilty. Elsewhere, Phyllis Summers is determined to prove that Sharon Newman set her son up for a murder charge. Phyllis has nothing to lose since the cops think that Daniel Romalotti is guilty. Phyllis tells a gobsmacked Sharon that she knows she set up Daniel and has proof. Sharon is in a vulnerable mental state, so it doesn't take much for her to panic. But if Phyllis had evidence of Sharon's crime, why doesn't she go to the police? Sharon isn't thinking clearly, and this gives Phyllis the advantage over her enemy. She is hoping to scare Sharon straight, but even Phyllis has no idea the depth of Sharon's troubles. Then again, Phyllis may provide some sort of evidence, but that will only provoke Chance Chancellor. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Phyllis goes rogue. Chance is not on board with Red going rogue and wants her to stay out of his case. Nonetheless, Phyllis spooks Sharon with her accusations. While this is going on, Daniel witnesses Sharon's panic, and it helps him to make up his mind about Phyllis' claim. Does this mean that Sharon will be caught out, or will their teamwork result in both mother and son being incarcerated? The Young and the Restless spoilers. In Genoa City, tension blanketed the community as the investigation into Heather's shocking death continued. Although police presented strong evidence against Daniel, disbelief spread through his friends and family. They refused to believe he could have committed such a terrible crime, whispering that something more sinister was at play. But soon, suspicion shifted. Sharon, ever calculating, saw an opportunity amid the chaos around Daniel. Knowing the community's doubts, she crafted a devious plan to redirect suspicion toward Phyllis. It was a dangerous game, but Sharon thrived in manipulation, using Phyllis's turbulent history against her. The question was, would anyone truly believe that a mother could kill her own daughter-in-law? Unaware of Sharon's plot, Phyllis remained busy, determined to prove Sharon's guilt. Fueled by anger and desperation, Phyllis felt she was close to exposing Sharon as the real killer. But irony weighed heavily on her. The harder she fought, the deeper she fell into Sharon's trap. Her fierce reputation now worked against her, turning friends into doubters and leaving her isolated. Meanwhile, Daniel's loyal friends rallied behind him, confident in his innocence. But Phyllis faced the growing burden of public suspicion alone. Sharon's plan unfolded perfectly. The more Phyllis searched for evidence, the guiltier she looked. The police, already aware of her past, soon came knocking, as Phyllis's history became the very thing that threatened to seal her fate. Watching from the sidelines, Sharon felt triumphant, having shifted blame away from Daniel and positioned herself as the unassuming bystander. Phyllis grew desperate, the tension mounting as the investigation deepened. Would she expose Sharon's manipulation before the web of lies closed around her? As the stakes rose, alliances shifted, secrets deepened, and the stage was set for a confrontation that could reshape the lives of all involved. With Heather's death looming large, Phyllis stood at a crossroads. Would she confront her enemies head-on or be swallowed by the shadows? In Genoa City, where trust is a rare currency, Phyllis's next move would not only decide her own fate, but the futures of everyone around her. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Audra Charles has been dealing with some business setbacks lately. Although Audra has been reaching out to old associates, they keep canceling on her, according to what she told Sally Spectra in the October 30 episode. Audra also admitted she thought Tucker McCall was the reason why. It's possible that Tucker is still out for revenge and that he's actively sabotaging Audra. However, Audra also raised the possibility that her association with Tucker was enough to haunt her and stain her reputation. Either way, Audra insisted that Tucker was an albatross that she couldn't shake. If that's true, could Tucker McCall be returning to Y&R in some form? Trevor Street John was abruptly written out as Tucker back in June, which left fans with questions about what the future held for the character. In Street John's exit statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, he talked about how Tuckers come and Tuckers go, before admitting this Tucker is in his go phase. It led to speculation that another version of Tucker might appear somewhere down the line. Of course, it's also possible that Street John might work out some new contract details and eventually return, but the door is certainly open for a Tucker recast if need be. It's interesting that Tucker McCall's name still comes up on the show, particularly when it comes to Audra. Since Audra went after control of Tucker's company and ultimately lost it, there's room for Tucker to be part of some glissade drama down the road. Soap fans know it's pretty common to rest characters off-screen for a while then bring them back for new story arcs. Tucker could easily make a roaring comeback at some point, so that's something to think about anytime Audra worries about him being an albatross. In the meantime, our predictions point to Audra growing closer to Nate Hastings and inevitably finding trouble everywhere she goes. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra will get tangled up in some new twists and turns, so we'll bring you updates on any startling news and sneaky plots. Young and the Restless weekly spoilers find Billy Abbott romancing Sally Spectra during the week of November 4 to 8, 2024. Elsewhere, a couple faces a setback while others tirelessly search for the truth on why and check out the latest spoilers for the CBS soap opera. Young and the Restless weekly spoilers, Billy Abbott pursues Sally Spectra. Next week, Young and the Restless spoilers confirm Billy Abbott gets romantic with Sally Spectra. They slowly got closer and became friends when they were worried about their relationships with Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman. Then, when they found out about Adam and Chelsea's night together, they were both heartbroken and abruptly single. They kept crossing paths and started spending more time together on Young and the Restless. Then, things took a turn when they wound up kissing after a night of drinking. They both agreed that they should forget about it and stay friends. However, things change next week as Billy takes a step in a more serious direction. So they may soon take the plunge and start officially dating. No doubt most of Geno City will be shocked, especially Chelsea and Adam. Later, Billy has no choice but to make things right with Lily Winters. Our weekly spoilers, summer comes between Kyle and Claire. While Billy Abbott is cozying up to Sally Spectra, a new couple hits a snag. Recently, Claire Newman caught her boyfriend, Kyle Abbott, in a warm moment with his ex-wife, Summer Newman. Of course, it was completely innocent. However, Summer looked like some old feelings might be bubbling up to the surface, and it certainly didn't sit well with Claire. Soon, Summer shakes things up for Claire and Kyle on Young and the Restless. Later, she and Chance Chancellor clash over her brother, Daniel Romalotti, and his legal problems. So their relationship may not last much longer, and a style reunion could be in the works. Elsewhere, Kyle's mother, Diane Jenkins, sends a mysterious message to someone. Meanwhile, Tracy Abbott has a surprise for Alan Laurent. Also, Nate Hastings decides whether or not he's going to help Amy Lewis. Young and the Restless next week spoilers, Sharon's running out of time. Later, on My and R, Sharon Newman begins to panic when Phyllis Summers corners her. Phyllis claims to have proof that Sharon killed Heather Stevens and that she's framing Daniel. Sharon wants to know what she's talking about as Daniel watches from the sidelines. Later, Daniel vows to see that justice is done. Obviously, he knows he didn't kill Heather, and it looks like he's starting to believe his mom about Sharon. So together, they may find a way to prove that she is guilty on Young and the Restless. If so, they could push Sharon Newman too far, and she might snap again. Also, Daniel's attorney, Christine Blair Williams, hides a secret. Elsewhere, Victor Newman goes to great lengths to pull off the ultimate surprise for his wife, Nikki Newman. At the end of the week, he reveals to Nikki that he had their old home on the Newman Ranch rebuilt and restored to exactly the way it was. Furthermore, that is the surprise wedding venue for his daughter, Abby Newman. Now, she and her fiancé, Devin Hamilton, can finish planning their big day. Y&R is full of shakeups. Don't miss a minute to see if Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott become a real couple on the CBS daytime drama. For all the latest Young and the Restless spoilers and updates daily from Soap Dirt. The Young and the Restless spoilers preview for winter is set to be huge, with a milestone 13,000th episode featuring a wedding, a rebuilt Newman Ranch, and a murder investigation involving Sharon, Daniel, and Phyllis. The Young and the Restless spoilers preview for winter is shaping up to be huge. Much of the typical November sweeps month will focus on the soap's milestone 13,000 episodes, which will see a wedding, bringing together so many of Genoa City's finest. 13,000th episode. It could have been a disaster when Devon and Abby learned that their wedding venue was canceled. However, Victor stepped in to save the day. He's kept the details about his daughter's big day quiet. However, we've recently learned that Victor's been quietly rebuilding the original Newman Ranch. Longtime viewers remember Sharon burning down the ranch over a decade ago. What's even more exciting is that you won't have to wait long to see the iconic set revealed in the storyline. Victor will reveal his big secret to Nikki on Friday, November 8. On soaps, weddings often have some big complication that may keep the whole thing from happening. We don't expect that to happen this time with Abby and Devon. Sure, they had a wrinkle over the venue, but we don't think anybody will speak up to stop things. And it doesn't seem like either Devon or Abby will get cold feet in the coming days. It's possible that Sally's wedding dress design could hit a snag, but in the end, Abby is sure to be a beautiful bride. Watch out! While we hope to see the wedding day go off without a hitch, there are other situations that could become more complicated as November rolls on toward Thanksgiving. Among them is Sharon's situation. Did she kill Heather, or is she guilty of dumping the dead body, destroying evidence, and also planting evidence? Of course, Sharon's situation is intertwined with Daniel's. Will he be found guilty? How far will Daniel go to prove his innocence? Also, how far will Phyllis go? It seems like Sharon needs to watch her back as this all unfolds. Perhaps we'll have a clearer picture of how the whole thing plays out after this month. Plus, expect to see some warm family moments as Genoa City residents gather to give thanks. Sure, Jack, Kyle, and Diane are struggling, but perhaps they will manage to come together for Thanksgiving. While there seem to be cracks for Nikki and Victor due to his vendetta against Jack, perhaps rebuilding their old house will help mend those fractures. We also want to know how things will turn out for Lily as she fights for her place at Chancellor. Perhaps Billy making amends this week means she'll be back at work soon. Of course, Lily may be unwilling to go back if Billy sticks around. What do you hope to see resolved this winter on Y&R? Let us know in the comments below. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Audra Charles has been dealing with some business setbacks lately. Although Audra has been reaching out to old associates, they keep canceling on her, according to what she told Sally Spectra in the October 30 episode. Audra also admitted she thought Tucker McCall was the reason why. It's possible that Tucker is still out for revenge and that he's actively sabotaging Audra. However, Audra also raised the possibility that her association with Tucker was enough to haunt her and stain her reputation. Either way, Audra insisted that Tucker was an albatross that she couldn't shake. If that's true, could Tucker McCall be returning to Y&R in some form? Trevor Street John was abruptly written out as Tucker back in June, which left fans with questions about what the future held for the character. In Street John's exit statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, he talked about how Tuckers come and Tuckers go, before admitting this Tucker is in his go phase. It led to speculation that another version of Tucker might appear somewhere down the line. Of course, it's also possible that Street John might work out some new contract details and eventually return, but the door is certainly open for a Tucker recast if need be. It's interesting that Tucker McCall's name still comes up on the show, particularly when it comes to Audra. Since Audra went after control of Tucker's company and ultimately lost it, there's room for Tucker to be part of some glissade drama down the road. Soap fans know it's pretty common to rest characters off-screen for a while, then bring them back for new story arcs. Tucker could easily make a roaring comeback at some point, so that's something to think about anytime Audra worries about him being an albatross. In the meantime, our predictions point to Audra growing closer to Nate Hastings and inevitably finding trouble everywhere she goes. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra will get tangled up in some new twists and turns, so we'll bring you updates on any startling news and sneaky plots. CDL's where you want to be for the hottest Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so make us your one-stop source. Diane Jenkins had reached her breaking point. Genoa City, once a beacon of hope, had become a place of betrayal and isolation. Losing her position at Jebut, a role she had fought tirelessly to earn, Diane was now shunned by everyone around her. It felt like every attempt to move forward only drove her further into the shadows. With her future looking bleak, Diane knew she needed to escape. She could no longer endure the constant hostility and tension. Though Genoa City had brought her closer to Jack Abbott, the man she once loved, and their son Kyle, her time here had left her feeling used and abandoned. To make things worse, Victor Newman lurked in the background, tempting her with the chance to join forces against Jack. Yet, even at her lowest, Diane couldn't betray him. The thought of siding with Victor against Jack felt like the ultimate act of disloyalty, one that would strip her of her dignity. Diane refused to sink to that level. Instead, she set her sights westward to Los Angeles, a place of old memories, family, and friends who could provide the comfort she desperately needed. Los Angeles promised a fresh start, free from Genoa's bitterness and judgment. Imagining herself surrounded by loved ones who valued her for who she truly was, Diane packed her bags and prepared to leave Genoa City behind. A family in turmoil. Those Diane leaves behind. As Diane prepared to depart, the question remained: would her absence affect the lives of those she was leaving behind? Jack Abbott and Kyle were central figures in her life, yet it was unclear if she held the same place in theirs. Jack, ever the stoic businessman, seemed indifferent to her departure, consumed by his bitter rivalry with Victor. For him, letting Diane go felt like a temporary reprieve, a chance to reassess his feelings. Beneath his calm exterior, however, Jack was exhausted and disillusioned, grappling with chaos at Jebut, Victor's unrelenting tactics, and his own loneliness. He wondered if he truly wanted Diane gone, or if her presence might have eased his struggles. Kyle, too, found himself in a difficult position. Watching his parents drift apart reopened old wounds, though he was too proud to admit it. Though he convinced himself Diane's departure would allow her to find peace, deep down, he wondered if letting her go was a mistake he might regret. Diane's new beginning in Los Angeles. Arriving in Los Angeles, Diane was greeted by a city full of energy, creativity, and hope. Familiar streets, the warmth of old friends, and the presence of family restored the balance she had longed for. Here, she was free from Genoa's prying eyes and critical whispers, no longer the outcast, but a woman with both a past and a future. Diane took the time to reconnect with herself, exploring parts of her soul she had neglected while fighting for acceptance in Genoa. Los Angeles allowed her to rediscover her passions, dreams, and self-worth. This distance from Genoa gave her clarity. She could see her mistakes, understand her choices, and reflect on what she truly wanted. The city's embrace offered her validation she had been denied for so long. Diane no longer felt like a pawn in someone else's game. She was finally in control of her own destiny. Back in Genoa City. Meanwhile, back in Genoa, Jack and Kyle began to feel the void her absence left. Initially, Jack believed he'd made the right decision to let her go, needing to focus on his feud with Victor. Yet, the solitude he sought only magnified his loneliness. Jack realized that in pushing Diane away, he had driven off one of the few people who had ever truly cared for him. Buckle up for an explosive week in GC packed with juicy drama that the Young and the Restless spoilers bring along. For starters, Phyllis is inviting trouble as she tries to push Sharon toward a confession. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott's love life is taking a fresh twist as he is already wooing Sally Spectra. Sadly, Daniel Romolotti's plight for justice could put him in serious jeopardy. This week also brings some adorable moments in Victor and Nikki Newman's lives. Check them out below. Phyllis spies on Sharon. Billy woos Sally. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal Phyllis is watching for even the slightest hint that Sharon will slip up. But is she setting herself up for a huge regret? One wrong move could send her world crashing down. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Billy is proving again that he's never one to let the dust settle. Following his split with Chelsea, he's trying to sway Sally into his orbit. However, he'll have to swallow his pride and admit he was wrong when he reconciles with Lily. Furthermore, in classic soap style, he's not the only one in relationship limbo. Summer's stirring up drama for Kyle and Claire, creating new challenges for them. Will they manage to work things out, or is this just another nail in the coffin? Next, the time has come for Nate to make a decision. He's wrestling with whether to help Amy despite being aware of the repercussions. Meanwhile, Tracy has something special for Alan, which will be a total shocker. Victor surprises Nikki, Diane's hidden clue finally revealed. Across town, Daniel might invite trouble, especially with Heather's case hanging over him. But guess what? Christine has a secret that might intensify the legal heat against him. Over at the Newman household, Victor is setting a whole new bar in the romance department with a touching surprise for Nikki. Their return to the Newman ranch promises an emotional reunion that will leave us sobbing for real. As the couple spends some cozy moments back at the ranch, it's time for Abby and Devin to finalize wedding plans. But hold up, there's a twist. Diane's cryptic message makes everyone wonder if her breakup with Jack was a well-executed scheme. It's indeed going to be an unforgettable week on Y&R. Don't miss out on more sizzling tea on the Young and the Restless spoilers at Soap Opera Daily. Will Phyllis expose Sharon? Man, oh man, that was one long renovation. But finally, a dozen years after The Young and the Restless, Sharon burned down the Newman Ranch during her last bipolar breakdown. Victor is ready to unveil his and Nikki's new and improved home for his wife. The week of November 4, the Black Knight moves his queen into position on the chessboard, blindfolding her, no less, so as to increase the element of surprise. Then at last, Nikki is allowed to open her eyes, and voila! The Newman Ranch, restored to its former glory. Even Eric Braeden, who plays Victor, says he was moved to tears by the sight of his and Melody Thomas Scott's longtime set having been redone. As you'll see in the photos below, on hand for the occasion are the couple's kids, Nicholas and Victoria, Victoria's back from the dead daughter Claire, and Victor's daughter with former spouse Ashley, Abby, and her newly minted fiancé Devin, which has to be awkward, considering that his future father-in-law just screwed over his sister Lily in business, and is now providing the couple with a wedding venue. Missing from the festivities appears to be Adam, Victor's son with the late hope, but that may be just as well, considering what portrayer Mark Grossman recently told Soaps.com about his character's fondest wish.